Welcome to Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of Today's Homeowner magazine and remodeling contractor Danny Lipford.
Well, I'm glad you're with us this week. The house that you see behind me was completed about 6 months ago, and during the construction stages, the homeowner spent a lot of time making all the selections necessary to complete the house. Now, one area they spent a lot of time on is the selection of their light fixtures because it's so important in the overall appearance of the home. Well, this week we'll visit a lighting showroom and talk with a lighting consultant about some of the things you need to consider when you're selecting light fixtures. And then later we'll come back to this house and look at the central lighting system that was installed during construction. It's a real unique system, very flexible. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You know, a lighting showroom is a perfect place to select those light fixtures for your home, even though it can be a little overwhelming because there is so much to choose from. But to give you just a few basics of some of the things you need to consider when you're selecting fixtures, what you see behind me is a real common bedroom fixture. It's a ceiling mount fixture, usually mounted right in the center of the ceiling. But some of the things you need to think about, these are available in 1, 2, 3, even 4 bulb arrangements. So the intensity of light that the different fixtures give off is very important when you're selecting the fixture. A good idea, bring your house plans or your renovation plans so that the lighting consultant can better help you select the right fixture for your application. Or if you don't have plans, make a small sketch of the room you're dealing with, showing the furniture placement, the size of the room. Also make a notation on the ceiling height and, very important, how many windows you have in that particular room. That way you can select the right fixture for that particular room. Now, this is a ceiling mount fixture, perfect for a bedroom, but when you're talking about bathrooms, you may be looking for wall mount fixtures. A typical bathroom lighting arrangement can include a wall sconce like we're seeing here or a wall hung light fixture. Now, to have this over a vanity and then to have a ceiling fixture behind you can eliminate all of those shadows that can really be a problem in a bathroom. But when you have decorative wall sconces like this, there's so much to choose from here. You have 2 bulb, 3 bulb, 4 bulb, and a variety of finishes as well as the globes. But one of the types that I really like is this type of wall sconce. It gives you a little more of a subtle lighting. It's great for a lot of different areas in the house. This particular one that has an architectural finish allows you to actually match the finish on the fixture to the finish in the room, either staining, painting, or any type of decorative painting. Also, these are perfect for a stairway where you're trying to provide some safety lights going down a stairway, great subtle lighting for that. Or if you have a long dark hallway, it's also perfect for that as well. But it's very important when you're considering fixtures like this, and most fixtures in your home, to work very closely with the electrician when he's doing his rough-in wiring. That's where a lighting consultant can really help you to work with the electrician to position the rough-in wiring exactly where you want it to end up. That way, when all of the walls are installed and they're coming back to install the fixture, you have just the right lighting you wanted in that particular room. Now, the owner of this showroom, Randy Woodham, is also a lighting consultant, and he's going to talk with us about the popular recessed lighting. Well, Randy, as a lighting consultant, it is important to work with that electrician very closely during that rough-in stage, isn't it?
It sure is, Danny, and especially when we're talking about recessed lighting.
Okay, well, take our viewers through what we're looking at here, because normally when a homeowner sees a recessed light, they're only seeing the actual trim part of it and not the housing.
That's true. These housings, we've assembled just a few simple ones, normally go up in the ceiling, hidden behind the sheetrock. We have a variety of those to show you here today. This is our standard housing, which can accommodate incandescent or halogen lamps up to 150 watts.
Okay, now see, these look very similar. What's the difference?
The only difference in these two are the labels. One is a blue one is a white one, and the blue label tells us right away that this can come in contact directly with insulation. There's also a thermal relay inside here that allows this to be preset at a temperature so that it's not combustible in the area.
Okay, so kind of a little safety mechanism there.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, and a little more shallow here.
Yeah, this one's a shallow housing and is designed to fit into those areas where you may be using a 2x6 ceiling joist and maybe even flooring just above it, or air conditioning ducts, so you don't have as much room to fit the standard housing, so you'd use a shallow housing.
Now when you're selecting the trims, the selection of your housing really plays into that, because you're a lot more versatile with the deeper cans than you are with the more shallow can.
Absolutely, and there are a tremendous array of trims that are available. We just brought a couple of samples here of our most commonly used trims, but selecting the housing will dictate the type of trim that can be used in the housing. For example, this is a die-cast aluminum baffle trim, and this is a roll steel smooth trim that we're using here. Both can accommodate bulbs up to 150 watts. Once this socket is installed in the trim, which is installed at exactly the same place every time, the spring rings hold the clamps inside, and it fits down in there real snug like that, and the bulb just screws inside of it just like this. And this is the part you see normally when you're looking up at the ceiling.
And really the selection of the trim really is going to determine the end result of the light fixture, because I know there's directional type that's available and wall wash that are available. It really goes on and on.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, when we come back after the Simple Solution segment, we're going to put all these components together at a project that Randy took a very personal interest in, his own home. Stay with us.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine repair and maintenance editor Joe Truini show you this week's simple solution. Brought to you by Dodge.
PVC pipe has been a real boon to do-it-yourself plumbing projects because the pipe is easy to cut and to assemble.
What we're using it for today is to add a new run to our central vac system to another part of the house.
The two most important things to remember when working with PVC pipe is, first, always dry assemble the parts before you glue them together, and make sure that the parts are aligned so the pipe goes exactly where it needs to.
Now this is very important because the glue that you use to put the PVC pipe and fittings together dries almost instantly, so you don't have a whole lot of time to work with.
That's right, and so the key to remember is, after you dry assemble the parts, is take a marker and make a line on the fitting itself and the pipe section. This way, when you go back to reassemble it, all you have to do is line up the two marks, and you know the pipe is properly aligned.
And if in the event that you have a little problem with it and you don't get it quite right, you can still cut the pipe very easily. Put a little coupling in here to make that final adjustment.
Come on in, Danny.
Hey, I love the doorway here, the leaded glass. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. I especially like it at night when the lights from the foyer hit through the leaded glass and give us the color and the glamour of the front door.
Well, I can see where the light source comes from. Beautiful chandelier, kind of a unique look to it.
Thank you. It is. I designed it myself, and I was sitting in the showroom and wanted to make the specific size to fit our entryway, and I used a Swarovski crystal to give it that added color.
You know, this is one of the fixtures that's so hard for homeowners to choose. It seems like many times on whole house renovations that we've done, that's the last fixture in the house that's actually chosen.
Yeah, and it usually puts the person over their budget because they spend more money in this area and the dining room probably than any other area in the home.
Well, what area in the home do you find that homeowners neglect the most?
Most often, the most neglected, the most under budget, and the most difficult to light would be the kitchen area.
Okay, well, let's see how you did in your house.
All right. Well, Danny, most people, when they come to a kitchen area, they really think about maybe just putting a fluorescent light or a surface-mounted incandescent or even downlight incandescents in this area.
Now, see, you've used a number of recessed housings all around the perimeter of the room. What's the reason for that?
I chose to use several of these. They're low-voltage halogen products, and the reason I chose them is because they have a very small aperture, small footprint on the ceiling. They give a really white light, and they give me a variety of beam patterns so that I can cover the entire kitchen and light it up very uniformly.
Okay, I notice also all around under the cabinets as well, you have the same type of lighting.
Yeah, halogens are another thing that we kept under the cabinets in order to make sure that the same color prevailed in the kitchen area.
Okay, now low voltage lighting, you're hearing a lot about that these days. Tell our viewers a little bit more about what's involved in low voltage.
Well, it's very important that you determine the type of fixture that you're going to use and where it's going to be placed. But an important characteristic of halogen is that they use a transformer. So you must have access to the transformer that won't require you tearing out the sheetrock or possibly even having to go up in the attic that may be inaccessible. So it's important to choose a fixture that allows you to change the transformer, because they will eventually burn out, and you have to change those maybe after several years of performance.
Okay, have you used it in other areas of the house?
We sure have. In fact, we've got a couple of areas in the bedroom that'll be very interesting.
Okay. Well, I see how you've used the recessed ceiling to really create the cove lighting.
Yes, this is a result of very high-level negotiations between my wife and myself. I was satisfied with just putting some simple downlights in the room, but she did not want those. So we ended up with the cove like it is, and the halogen light source, low voltage light source, to illuminate that area.
Okay, all right, and also you've used some low voltage over the bed there.
Yeah, we sure did. I chose to use another low voltage product here. It's a halogen product, and it puts a specific light source on the bed. This is for the function of reading at night, and she has one on her side, and we're able to read independently without having light pollution in the rest of the room. This is a light source we've used other places in our home, as well as our game room upstairs, for example, where we chose to use that same type of light source above the pool table in conjunction with an incandescent light. That's my monkey light.
Okay, now you've mentioned several different types of bulbs. That is another big selection for homeowners when they're considering lighting for their home.
Light bulbs, it's just an endless array of possibilities there, just like it is with fixtures, whether they're recessed or decorative. And so it's important that people provide the right type of light source, whether it's incandescent, halogen, or whether it's fluorescent. Compact fluorescent is even a popular product now.
Okay. Well, Randy, there's a lot to learn about lighting, and you've given us just a little bit of information this week to consider, and I'm sure you can see there's a lot to consider in lighting as well. And stay with us, and when we come back after this Best New Product segment, we'll take a look at a very unique automated lighting system.
It's time to check out this week's Best New Product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Paul Spring. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
What a perfect name for a hedge trimmer, Hedgehog.
Yeah, Black & Decker's really rethought this, this whole tool. And one of the things that I love that they've come up with, very innovative, is you're able to exchange different blades of different sizes here. This is a 21 that's 22 inches long for deep hedges, but there's also an 18, a little shorty 10 that's good for shaping, and even a pruning saw. So
Well, now that sounds good, but how hard is it to change those blades?
they've made it very easy. Let me show you, Danny. If you'll unhook it there. Okay, just grab that little lever right there and pull up.
That's it?
That's it.
Great.
Lifts right out, fits on that spindle. You put the new one in, set it on down, and there you go.
Oh, not bad at
It's
all.
just like that.
I see they've given safety some consideration here in the guard and see-through guard, as well as the safety catch here on the handle.
They have, and the handle is fully adjustable from the front all the way to the back. It'll even give you another 10 inches of extension for those really long hedges.
And this is something every tool should have, is just a little hook here to hold on to your cord to keep it from pulling out as you're going around the yard taking care of the hedges.
Boy, I agree with you there. And finally, you know, a hedge trimmer is all about how aggressive can it be. This has a full 3/4 inch open here, which allows you to really grab the big twigs and branches, cut them off, 4.5 amp motor, so there's plenty of power there. In fact, at a $100 price tag, this is a pretty good buy in a hedge trimmer.
Now, when most homeowners think of an automated lighting system, they think of something that may be very complex, but we found a company, CentraLite, that has really simplified that process. With me is Jimmy Busby. Now, Jimmy, first of all, for our viewers, what exactly is an automated lighting system?
Well, it's a central control system for your home. It allows you to control all your lights from one location or in different locations around the house.
Okay, what's an advantage for a homeowner to have a system like this?
Well, there are many. There's convenience from being able to turn all your lights off from one location. There's also safety, security with a keychain remote, and being able to turn all your lights on with one button from your bedroom. And also energy savings with being able to dim lights and turn lights off that you don't want on.
Okay, all right. Now, the actual panel, do you have one or do you have two in a house like
In
this?
this house we have two, and they're located right down the hall there.
Okay, good. Well, Jimmy, being here in the hallway, is this the perfect place for the control panels?
It really is. It's an ideal location. For one example, the homeowners are going to bed. They go into the master bedroom, take one look at the panel and see that they've got a lot of lights on. All they have to do is push one button and turn all those lights off.
Now take us through a few scenarios, you know, different homeowners, different lifestyles, different timetables and so forth. How can this really benefit a homeowner?
Well, it's nice. If you look at the panel here, you can turn the lights on or off from the panel and see whether they're on or off. So, you know, like I said, before you're going to bed or if you're just checking to see if there are lights on, you can control everything from this panel.
Now what about certain scenarios? Let's say we're entertaining, we're having people over for dinner. Can you actually program the lights to kind of set the mood of the lighting for that night?
Absolutely. We have a dining room scene in this house. You push the dining room scene and all the lights in the dining room, around the dining room, go down to a preset level, and just makes it ideal for entertaining.
Okay, what about getting up in the middle of the night and having that midnight snack?
That's-
Can you help out on that?
It's even better because you can push the button and it'll light a little path of lights very dimly down the hallway into the kitchen. When you come back, you just press and hold one button, it turns all those lights off. So.
Great. Okay, what about in the individual rooms? You still have switches there. Do you still have the control from the individual room?
Absolutely, just like you would in a normal house. You push the button, the light's going to come on. If you press it and hold it, you've got dimming at every location also.
Okay. Now there has to be more than just the panels here. I know that you could probably put one of these panels upstairs or one downstairs or whatever, but what else is there to the system?
Well, you've got to switch the lights somewhere, actually switch the loads. That happens in a big metal box out in your garage. Keeps all that high voltage switching away from your walls in a metal enclosure.
Okay. It sounds like a lot of wires. How do you find an electrician to handle this? Is it very complex?
It's not complex at all. It's very simple, but it's different than what electricians are used to doing. So there is a learning curve. Their first job may take them a little longer than normal, but you know, they wouldn't have a problem with it.
Okay, all right. Now security, you know, everybody's concerned with home security now, and one of the things that impressed me is how by using the remote, you can actually, you're arriving, it's late at night, you're able to turn on every light in the house if you want.
You can be in your car and have this keychain remote, press the top button here, it turns as many lights as you want in your house, lights up a pathway, and then when you go to leave, you leave all your lights on, get in your car, push the other button, it turns them off.
Now, I know you installed this system before this new house had the drywall up, but what about a retrofit situation where someone may have an existing home and they like this idea? How hard is it to install the system in an existing home?
Well, it is more difficult because this system is ideal for new construction. It's a hardwired system, which means that from every switch, we have to run a wire back to our controller, so it takes time and it's not good if your house is already built. Now in the future, we're going to have a wireless system. Every switch in the house will communicate back to a central controller with radio frequencies, and that'll take care of the retrofit.
Well, that'll make the installation much easier.
It would be very easy.
Now, what about cost on a system like this? About what does it run?
About $2 a square foot, but that varies with your location in the U.S. and also with the complexity of the system that you install.
Okay. Well, I love the way it's very versatile, very flexible. You're able to create those scenes such as dining over at the dining room table and bringing those lights down. And of course, the pathway light to the refrigerator at night, that works pretty well too.
Yes, it does.
Thanks, Jimmy. And stay with us next, our Around the Yard segment.
Now let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Jennifer Brennan.
Jennifer, I see a lot of homeowners using hanging baskets like this to really add some color to their yards.
Oh yes, and the color at eye level draws the people into the garden much more quickly, Danny.
Okay, give us some tips on how to create those real healthy hanging baskets.
Yes, you start with the basket with a cocoa liner or a sphagnum sheet moss liner. You want to use good quality potting mix, and then there are three elements. You need some height, you need some round fullness with color, and then you want something cascading over the edges.
Okay, now I see the ivy is planted both on the inside of the hanging basket as well as some protruding out of the side here.
That's the secret to have a nice, lush, full basket. You can plant the sides, and you do that by cutting the cocoa mat from the inside, and then you wrap the plant in wax paper and pull it through, and that keeps the plant from getting damaged or getting soiled with the potting soil. And then you keep it nice and full, and the secret is just feed it, feed it, feed it.
Well, I would really love to have one of the central lighting systems like these homeowners have in their home. That way, at my house, I wouldn't have to worry about staying on the kids so much about turning off the lights. Now, I hope we've been able to give you some good information so that next time you're selecting light fixtures, you'll be a little better prepared, because it is a very important decision, because selecting the right lighting fixture can really make a difference in the overall look of your home. I'm Danny Lipford, and we'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.